Action News, Delaware Valley's leading news program, with Jim Gardner.
The name Sandy may not sound like a ferocious storm, but don't let names fool you. Ferocious may not begin to describe what happens Monday and Tuesday. It is far from certain where she's headed, but right now we are in the crosshairs. Friday night, the big story on Action News tonight is the expected arrival of Hurricane Sandy, now just a weekend away. Pennsylvania is now in a state of disaster emergency. Governor Corbett issued the order this afternoon, which activates the Emergency Operations Center, puts the National Guard on standby, and authorizes $5 million for storm expenses. Governor Jack Markell of Delaware says he is waiting on an emergency declaration. Decisions on evacuations will come tomorrow. New Jersey has not made an official declaration yet. Governor Christie was out of town most of the day. He will discuss plans tomorrow. Cape May County issued a voluntary evacuation of the Barrier Islands and Delaware Bay communities. It is mandatory as of Sunday. In Philadelphia, the city wants people in low-lying flood-prone areas to evacuate by Sunday at 2 p.m. And this view from space gives you a sense of the enormity of the storm. The clouds stretch for 2,000 miles, tropical force winds for 500 miles from the eye. Down on Earth, this is more than just a ripple effect. Large waves and very strong surf have been pounding the Florida coastline all day. Many communities have closed their beaches, while on others, the only visitors are heavy machinery moving piles of sand into dunes to fight storm erosion. And in Stuart, Florida, a home garage collapsed when the surf swept away the sand beneath it. Back in this area, Action News reporter Jennifer Joyce is live at the Jersey Shore. Chad Perdelli is on River Road in Roxborough. Dan Cuellar is staked out at the busy Acme in Bala-Cynwyd. But first, let's get the latest on the track of the storm from meteorologists Cecily Tynan and Adam Joseph. Cecily, let's start with you at the Action News Big Board.
And Jim, I do have the latest from the National Hurricane Center. I want to just first of all show you the image of Sandy. And this does not look like your typical hurricane because it's not. First of all, it has weakened from a Category 2 hurricane this time last night to 75-mile-an-hour maximum sustained winds. That's a Category 1 hurricane. Part of the reasons why there's an upper level low down to the south, that's funneling in some dry air, and there's also some wind shear. Hurricanes need rising air to intensify. When you get wind shear, it cuts off the top of the hurricane, so it does weaken it. It'll be moving away from that wind shear and that low, so it could intensify after about 36 hours. But also what's happening, it is beginning to translate into that hybrid storm that we've been talking about for days. But I don't want people to get hung up on whether Sandy's a hurricane or a tropical storm or nor'easter. Just remember, this storm is about 1,000 miles across as far as the tropical storm force winds. So no matter what it is, it's a powerful storm. It's a very big storm. The latest spaghetti plots, the models show that they've shifted a little bit farther to the north. But again, don't rely on these tiny little shifts. You have to look at the concentration, and the concentration of these models continue to be right across our region. And this is pretty unusual to see such a consensus when we're talking about 3 days away from making landfall. So there's a lot about the storm we do know and we're confident about. For more on that, let's head over to Adam Joseph. Adam.
And Cecily, what we're following is the wind field itself. In fact, Sandy's wind field is 500 miles with tropical storm force winds. That's 39 miles an hour or greater. As you can see, the sustained winds, how large it becomes, it continues to grow in size as it becomes that hybrid nor'easter as it transitions, and that continues through the weekend. Sunday at 10:30 p.m., we start to see the fringes of the sustained winds of 39 miles an hour or greater. The core of the real intense winds still off the coast. But as Sandy starts to push back westward, as Cecily showed you with the spaghetti plots, by Monday 8:30 p.m. we're starting to see those very intense winds of 58 miles an hour or greater sustained, meaning that you were driving down the road 58 miles an hour. That's continuous. This is not gusts, and it will only grow in size as it continues to move inland. So what we know Monday through Tuesday, very damaging winds that will cause power outages with trees coming up, Also power lines going over, widespread inland flooding with tremendous amounts of rain, and the possibility of some severe coastal flooding. Jim Cecil will have much more on the exact wind speeds we could see across the area and what we mean by that coastal flooding in that full AccuWeather forecast.
All right, Adam. Let's go live to Ocean City, New Jersey, and Action News reporter Jennifer Joyce. Jennifer, what kinds of preparations are folks there making even 2 days ahead of this storm?
Well, Jim, today we saw businesses boarding up and people picking up some last-minute essentials from local stores.
Getting water, getting batteries, making sure the flashlights are working.
People like Brendan Wilson in Ocean City, New Jersey are preparing for Sandy's arrival.
Getting everything taken care of tomorrow, getting everything, buttoned down, making sure the windows are tight.
As a service volunteer, Wilson witnessed the aftermath of Hurricanes Katrina and Rita. Now Wilson is a local pastor and says his church plans to help this community through the pending storm.
Today, talking at our church, how can we help the community? How can we support the police force? How can we support the local firefighters?
Businesses on the Ocean City Boardwalk are stabilizing their storefronts. Sandbags have been placed at properties throughout the city. Superstorm Sandy has proven to be a real showstopper. An opening Saturday night performance of a murder mystery at Music Pier has been indefinitely postponed. A hurricane-sized bummer for a group of middle and high school students who have spent the last 2 months working hard in rehearsals.
We were affected by Irene last year. We had a show that same weekend. And 2 holiday seasons ago, we had a show, the big random snowstorm in December. So Mother Nature is not our friend in Ocean City.
So because of Sandy, that show will not go on. Again, that's because Cape May County has ordered mandatory evacuations beginning 8 a.m. Sunday. Everyone must be off of the barrier islands by 9 p.m. Reporting live in Ocean City, I'm Jennifer Joyce, Channel 6 Action News.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you very much. In Philadelphia, Mayor Michael Nutter held a news conference to urge residents to use this calm before the storm wisely.
Don't wait. If you live in a flood-prone area, if your home has flooded in the past, make plans now to stay with family and friends.
Those areas the mayor is talking about include, but not limited to, Delaware Avenue, along the Kelly, Lincoln, and Martin Luther King drives, near the Pennypack and other creeks, and the Cobbs Creek, Eastwood, make that Eastwick, Manayunk and Roxborough areas of the city. This map is a true worst-case scenario, but it highlights the areas of concern for storm surge flooding if a Category 1 or 2 storm struck, mostly in South and Southwest Philadelphia. There are few places in Philadelphia more prone to flooding than River Road in Roxborough, and that's where Action News reporter Chad Pradelli is live right now. Chad?
Well, Jim, people who live in flood-prone areas like a River Road know the drill. If they don't, they should. These people here, they're getting ready for it, getting ready for Sandy. Along River Road and the banks of the Schuylkill tonight, the calm before the storm. But earlier, residents were bustling to move their belongings to higher ground and praying Sandy has some mercy.
Well, let's hope it's not as bad as they're saying it is. Hopefully it goes out to sea. You do it too late, you don't have any time, and it's better to be prepared than not prepared.
And the city is taking a similar approach. The water department was out cleaning storm drains in Manayunk, another flood-prone area, despite the warning for residents in those areas to be ready to leave home by 2 p.m. Sunday. Residents here on River Road say they'll wait it out and hope for the best.
Will you stay here in the house?
Yeah, we'll stay here, make sure everything's all right, because we got the tracks behind us. We can always get out if we have to. You're living on that side, then you're in trouble.
And even people who don't live in flood-prone areas need to be prepared, have an emergency preparedness kit, a working flashlight, some batteries, a radio, some blankets, and even bottles of water, and have some contacts some people that you can contact in case there is an emergency. Now, I'm live in Roxborough, Chad Pradelli, Channel 6 Action News. Jim?
Thank you, Chad. Even if you're not in a flood-prone neighborhood, clogged sewers can lead to street flooding, and so public works crews in many communities, including here in Upper Darby, spent the day clearing away leaves that could back up storm drains. It is a wise idea to rake your property and clear the gutters this weekend while it is still dry. In Delaware City, Public Works employees installed storm panels along Clinton Street today. The portable system raises the height of the flood wall. It will prevent street flooding when high waves from the Delaware River splash over the retaining wall. And still to come on Action News tonight, our Hurricane Sandy coverage continues with recommendations on what to buy to get ready. Plus, Consumer Reports puts batteries to the test, something you'll definitely need in your emergency kit in case the lights go out. And the tragic end for the search for Sanvi. Authorities say they know the suspect's motive in murdering the baby girl and her grandmother. Cecily?
Well, we'll have more specifics on the timetable of Sandy, how much rain to expect where you live, how much wind, and the storm surge coming up in the full AccuWeather forecast.
Jeff Skaversky with the Eagles preparing not for Sandy, but for the Atlanta Falcons, plus high school huddle when Action News continues tonight. Devoting most of our attention to Hurricane Sandy, and obviously with good reason.
That's right. It's very important because we want people to be prepared. Unfortunately, the bulk of the weekend will be very quiet, so no need to panic. You have all day tomorrow, most of the day on Sunday, to get ready for this storm. Storm Tracker 6 3D live showing as we scan the region with our 1,000,000 watts of power, which will be put to good use next week. No rain out there tonight, but we're already beginning to get the cloud cover in association with Sandy. This shows just what a huge storm system this is. You can see some of the high, thin cirrus clouds already beginning to advance, and then that's that trough that typically would kick a storm like this out to sea. But with this blocking high pressure up across the northeast, that trough likely will become negatively tilted. What that means, it will pull that storm into land. So the latest from the National Hurricane Center, Sandy is a Category 1 hurricane, maximum sustained wind 75 miles per hour. It's moving very slowly to the north at 7 miles per hour. It's about 400 miles east-southeast of Charleston, South Carolina, and it doesn't look like your typical hurricane. Typically looks like a donut. It's looking more like a comma, and that's a nor'easter. So this is a sign it is beginning to make a transition. I want to show you, this is our live data right now, some of the buoys. This buoy is near Charleston, and you can see winds right now 38 miles per hour, already gusting to 43 miles per hour, and that's close to 400 miles from the center of Sandy. So the wind field with this storm is very large. So it looks like Sandy will make that turn to the northeast, parallel the coast. Sunday night, it could intensify. This is really a critical point. This is when I expect it will get energized with a trough coming in from the west, and that's what will make this hook, which is very unusual for a storm like this at our latitudes, into the East Coast. The current national hurricane forecast has it across South Jersey, inland to Pennsylvania. But again, you have to look at this cone of uncertainty. Could be as far north as Connecticut, could be as far south as Virginia. We talked about the sustained winds at the top of the show. I want to show you the expected wind gusts at the height of the storm. Monday into Tuesday, along the coast, you're going to get battered. 80+ mile-an-hour wind gusts possible. The bulk of our viewing area, we're looking at wind gusts 60 to 80 miles per hour with all the leaves on the trees. This is why I'm concerned about widespread power outages. As far as the rain, Sunday 1 o'clock for the Eagles kickoff. We're not looking at much. Lots of clouds. It'll be breezy, maybe a little bit damp, a few scattered showers. Sunday afternoon, things begin to intensify. By 9 o'clock, some of that rain moving in from the south. But look at what happens on Monday morning. This is when we get the waves of torrential rain by 11 o'clock. And then we'll have about 24 hours of on and off waves of torrential rain. So the future rainfall showing by Wednesday, we're looking at generally about 4 to perhaps even 10 inches of rain. So this likely will cause widespread inland flooding. Coastal flooding also a huge concern. The Atlantic high tides 8 o'clock Monday night and 8 a.m. Tuesday morning. A big problem. The tides are already very high thanks to the full moon. So depending on the track of the storm, we could be looking at near record level tides. So the exclusive AccuWeather 7-day forecast tomorrow. Lots of clouds, but a nice day for the soccer game. The media Halloween parade. I'm the Grand Marshal. Come on out. Should be a nice day. 68 degrees. How to get that in. Sunday, lots of clouds, breezy with a few showers developing, 60. Monday, the brunt of the storm moves in. Heavy rain, high winds. Tuesday, the same for the first half of the day. I think things will begin to wind down Tuesday night. Wednesday for Halloween, perhaps a lingering shower. Windy temperatures in the 50s. It'll be cool and breezy throughout the rest of the week. This could change. The forecast is not set in stone. Very important you stay tuned to Action News through the weekend. We're looking at about 3 days away.
This
the
whole
landfall.
thing could change?
The track could shift, so stay tuned. We'll keep
You mean
posted.
one of those like, never mind?
Not quite that much, but it could shift a little bit.